Donovan Mitchell, 11-0 Cavs, visiting the Bulls. And is this easy? Because everybody's doing it now. Not easy. The 360 to avoid the defender, an unreal play. 25 points in the first half, the most of any half this season for Donovan Mitchell, and the Cavs led by just one at the break. So we take you to the fourth quarter where it's still close. Bulls down 4. Zach LaVine. The reverse layup. He would miss the free throw as he got fouled, though, so it was a 2-point game. Then more from LaVine. Going to work in the post, a tough fadeaway jumper. He had a team-high 26. The Bulls tie it at 106. Next Cavs possession. Back and forth we go. The finish. Lobs it to Mobley. He throws it down, and then Karis LeVert from the corner. Cavs extend their lead to 7, but 2 minutes to go. Same score in the fourth. And it's Vucevic. Cuts to the hoop. He lays it in. He had 20 points, 8 rebounds to make it a 5-point game. Then more coming from him and Garland. He gets him on the switch. Goes to the hoop. Sweet finish by Garland there. Cavs win it 119 to 113.
Now let's welcome in NBA reporter Bobby Marks. And Bobby, these Cavs, they just can't lose. But Kelsey, you got more right there. The Cavs, they're doing so well. First team to start 12-0. They just look like unbeatable at this point, Bobby. They and Boston are the class of the East right now. As you see them right now, can Cleveland beat the Celtics and come out of the East?
Oh, most definitely. And I think, Ryan, because they have the 2 Ds, depth and defense here. And I think when you see it in that game last night against Chicago, plus 24 in points off turnovers and a plus 23 in bench points. And they can beat you in a lot of different ways. Last night it was Ty Jerome in the fourth to lead the charge and that comeback here. So yes, I do think Boston and Cleveland are kind of on that island by themselves right now when you look at the Eastern Conference. The one thing to look at, Ryan, when we move forward here is the minutes of these starters. They have done a great job keeping Donovan Mitchell certainly fresh. He is on pace to average the lowest points in his lowest minutes in his career.
Wow, they are finding a balance that I don't think any of us expected them to find at this point in the season. And we'll see, by the way, how the Celtics stack up with the Cavs. They face each other a week from tonight. That's going to be a good one. All right, from the best in the East to one of the worst, the Bucks, they've been the story. 2-8. Questions swirling around Giannis Antetokounmpo. You've spoken to people close to the situation. What's the latest on his future, his situation in Milwaukee?
Yeah, there's nothing going on with the future of Giannis Antetokounmpo as far as regarding a trade out of Milwaukee. I have talked to people close to that organization. The goal right now is try to figure out how to get out of this 2-8 hole. Of course, Giannis wants to win there. Remember, he hasn't even started that 3-year extension that he signed last September. That doesn't kick in next year. So they've got a stretch of 11 games, Ryan, over the next couple weeks here. 8 of those are at home. So we got to get to a point where they got to start winning games. But there's no intention to move off of Giannis, and there's no intention for Giannis to ask out here. But they're going to have to do without Damian Lillard. He's out with that concussion. He's in the concussion protocol. Chris Middleton still has not been cleared to come back and play in a game yet. So there is going to be challenges yet, but there are winnable games coming up here. But as I said earlier, there's no intention to move off of Giannis or him to ask to be traded out of Milwaukee.
A splash, bro. Klay Thompson. When I get on the floor and I see number 11 suited up with me, I feel good about our success.
Curry, way down top. Klay Thompson in the zone.
We've been through the highest of highs. Grateful to have the times I've had with them.
For the first time in a regular season game, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson will be on the same floor, but in different uniforms. Klay returns to the Bay tonight with the Mavs. Thompson left a major mark on the Warriors franchise. Ranks in the top 5 in Warriors history in three-pointers and games played. Also was a 4-time champion and a 5-time All-Star during this time in the Bay. Bobby Marks back with us. Bobby, how do you look, or how do these Warriors look this good? They're doing so well after moving on from a cornerstone franchise player like Klay Thompson.
Well, Ryan, they removed the emotional element, and they moved off Klay Thompson this offseason back in July. And when you look at it in the big picture, that was the best move this organization could have made, because when you look at the trade to send Klay Thompson to Dallas, you bring back Buddy Hield, and Kyle Anderson. You basically split up that Klay Thompson contract. And then you were able to go out and sign DeAnthony Melton, who's your starter right now. So you basically turned Klay Thompson into 3 quality level players here. And I think if Klay Thompson, as much as he's done for this organization, was still on this roster, we're probably not talking about Golden State being one of the top teams in the Western Conference right now.
It's amazing. You talk about how they've used this roster. Steve Kerr has everybody participating. They've got 13 players averaging double-digit minutes. Curry, by the way, leading all players with 28 minutes a game. Bobby, how are they able to spread everything out among these players, all 13 of them, and yet still be near the top of the West?
Well, that's the beauty of it. And I think certainly defensively, they had a hiccup in Cleveland here, but they're one of these teams that ranks up in the top 2 in defensive efficiency. And similar to how Cleveland's done it, right? Depth in defense here. When they have a team that can go 11 deep, playing 13-plus minutes, you get to Steph Curry in the fourth quarter, and he's only played 25 minutes, the freshness of Curry. I think the interesting thing is how they look as far as when we get closer towards the end of the season here, as far as where this depth is.
Yeah, a lot of guys rested if they're playing it that way all season. Meanwhile, speaking of a guy who's had a lot of rest, we got a return tonight. Joel Embiid returning to the hardwood in his season debut tonight against the Knicks. Bobby, what do you expect to see from Joel Embiid tonight?
Yeah, his first return against Karl Anthony Towns and the Knicks, right? Welcome back here. I think it's going to be similar to what we've seen with Paul George here, as far as somewhat on a minutes restriction here. I think the number maybe in that 25 to 30 minute range. Remember, Sunday night, Paul George does not play in overtime against Charlotte here. So I think we are looking at somewhat of a minutes restriction. I think it's interesting how much rust Embiid has. He hasn't played in a game since the Olympics. I think the big question is, Ryan, is what happens tomorrow? This Philadelphia team has Cleveland on a back-to-back here. Will we see Joel Embiid in 2 consecutive games?
So he's got a minutes restriction, may not play back-to-backs. Bobby, I always say this. This is a team with championship aspirations. If they continue on this path, do you see them as a playoff team?
I do, just because of where the Eastern Conference is. When you look at the standings this morning, they're 2 games out of the 6th seed. And that's with no Tyrese Maxey, most of the season without Paul George, and certainly without Joel Embiid. So I think you just kind of got to tread water right now, just trying to get healthy. And yes, they will be a playoff team.
Wow. Still, everything you say has Sixers fans scared all over the world. Bobby, thank you so much. All right, and check this out. Group play for the Emirates NBA Cup begins tonight. 6 groups of 5 will play in 4 designated group play games on Cup nights, which are going to take place every Tuesday and Friday from now until December 3rd. The 6 group winners and the best second-place teams from each conference will advance to the knockout rounds, playing single elimination games until a champion is crowned in Vegas on December 17th. And by the way, each game will count towards the regular season standings, except for the championship.